This month of May is transition month, meditation month, rest or sleep month, high blood pressure awareness month, maternal health month, older Americans month, and so much more. In honor of Older Americans Month, I interviewed Sarah Payne Naylor, who is an older American. Hello, I'm Donna Marie, and welcome to the Sacred Moments podcast. This is a space where we normalize conversation around mortality, grief, love legacy, and end-of-life planning. I am a death doula, celebrant, love legacy guide, and end-of-life planner and educator. And I'm having a conversation today with Sarah Payne Naylor, the author of this book, You're Not Done Becoming. You're never done becoming. It doesn't matter your age. We are all sacred beings, and we all are here for a purpose. So we talk about agency, maintaining your voice to combat ageism, to create those intergenerational connections that no matter where you are in life, you're not too old. You didn't miss the boat. You did not miss your opportunity. There is still time because you're not done becoming. Before we go on, take a moment, subscribe to the Sacred Moments channel, hit the notification bell so you know when new episodes are available, like our content, share our content, and share your comments. I definitely want to hear from you. What would you like to hear from me? So Sarah's here to encourage us to live our best life by embracing our whole life, and I hope you enjoy this. Older Americans Month is observed to recognize the contributions of older adults and to highlight their role in strengthening communities. And so that's one of the reasons we're here. This is the month of May is also a month that symbolizes a major transition from fall and winter to spring. So this month of transitions, you're a life transition coach, you're an older American, and you just wrote this amazing book. You don't just have this one book. You have three.
Yes, I have three. You're right.
Yes. So you have Crossing Rough Waters, which is subtitled Journey from Fear to Freedom.
Yes.
And then you have the COVID-19 toolkit, mindfully manage stress and anxiety. And so for me, each of these books represent transition.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, this book is kind of how you started. It talks about
Yes.
your life. You talk a bit about some of your traumatic experiences.
Mhm.
You talk about how your life turned around. You talked even about your own insecurities as a young woman, how you were placed in this prestigious position, and it was very hard for you to recognize your worthiness of being
Yeah.
in that place. But we as African American women really work harder to prove ourselves in many
Yes.
environments. And so you
Yes.
talk a bit about how you worked harder to prove yourself, and then at some point you had to recognize the importance of accepting you and walking in your
Absolutely.
power.
Absolutely. Same time that I was in that job, I realized that you always have to be working for yourself. Always. So you're always thinking about what do you need, and not from a selfish point of view, but you have to really set your own ground rules for yourself. What are you willing? Your own boundaries. But working for yourself is all about that. What is your passion? So
Yeah.
within the position you're in, does that position speak to you or not? You know, it's more than about earning money.
Yes.
So if at some point it's not working for you, then it's time to start looking.
Crossing Rough Waters, we start off really just your whole life. You went back to childhood in this book, and there's some really tough conversations or tough, I think it was probably a tough decision to share some of your life experience in this
Very,
book.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it was very much.
yeah,
But I believe in telling the truth, and I believe that our lives are bigger than our own. I believe that people can grow from helping each other.
yes,
And so if I had had somebody telling me some of the things that I've talked about in that book, it would have been helpful to me to hear it
yeah,
because part of me is very proud of some of those um, experiences
yes,
that others in my family had before me. that were the tough things.
Yeah.
And anyway, yeah, it was quite an experience to realize what I've come from.
And I love the vulnerability. I love the candidness. And I love that you chose to be the change you wanted to see,
Hmm.
not just
Hmm.
as you show up with in your actions, but by
Hmm.
sharing your story, because as you stated, you would have benefited from your story.
Absolutely.
And so
I would
others
have.
will as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did, and I invited you to a book club with the National Council of Negro Women. We met
Yeah.
with. I know my friend Monica was there in that book club
Yeah.
discussion, and we were discussing this book. And all of those women were moved and inspired by your story, the way you continued becoming. Then let's move just a little bit to your COVID-19 toolkit book, um,
Yeah.
Mindfully Manage Stress and Anxiety.
I wrote this book for an agency in Chicago that was a family service agency. At that time, it was called Chicago Child Care Society. And I wrote it for the staff who was having difficulty going out and serving their clients. Their clients were single parent mothers, generally, who were afraid for their
Yeah,
children and afraid for themselves. And the staff was afraid to go visit them for fear that they would, uh, all of a sudden catch COVID. I realized that there was so much fear. And I knew that when we have that level of fear, we have to come back to ourselves. And that's what the COVID-19 toolkit is attempting to do, to help people understand what their values are, understand what their God given gifts are, what are the innate abilities and gifts that you've been given that you can use to help you feel and know who you are. Feel good
yeah.
about yourself and know who you
I want
are.
to ask you a question about social connection, building community, especially as we age.
Hmm.
How important has that been in your life, and do you have any pearls of wisdom that you can share with older individuals? People sometimes, older elders rather, will sometimes have hearing
Hmm.
problems, and so it's very
Hmm.
hard, or sight or mobility. And so then we become a little more isolated and a little more to
Hmm.
ourselves, or we get frustrated because we don't like people having to repeat themselves, or we believe that we are an inconvenience. So we choose not to be with people as much or as often in order to convenience them. But when we do that, we sacrifice our own well-being. And so I'd just like you to share just any wisdom or um, any encouragement, even.
First of all, I do believe that we are all sacred beings. We are, each of us are unique people. And we haven't been taught, at least I was not taught, how to honor that within myself. I wasn't raised in a family that honored the gift of who I am.
Mhm.
I believe that each of us is a gift to society. We each come here with that whole unique piece of who we are. And so I think that we have to begin there with looking at ourselves and looking at what are the gifts that I have that make me unique, make me who I am. And I can look back on my life and say that was who I was. Um, and some of it I liked, and some of it I would look at it today and say, ooh, I needed to do some growing from some of that. And I have. But then today, at 83, I'm still looking at who am I becoming now? So in our society, we are not encouraged to think about who are we becoming today at this age, except until we run it across someone like you who honors it. But that doesn't happen in the mainstream. And so it's very easy to think that you don't matter or you don't count, or maybe it's too late, or, they don't need me anymore. I'm just a fifth wheel or third wheel or whatever that people uh, just kind of put up with. But I think that the answer to all of that is to develop our own inner dignity,
Mhm.
to develop our own sense of ourselves in a way that we feel good about who we are. And everybody's not going to write a book the way I did, but there is
Yes.
something that you do at whatever age you are that is meaningful somewhere, even as we lose capacity. There's a story that you can tell someone.
Mm.
There's something that you can do that is meaningful, like your mother takes care of children, you
Yeah.
know? And I think we just need to think about who it is we are and how can we live that makes our heart feel good. And that to me is the secret to the whole thing is how are you feeling? How's your heart feeling today? In this moment, how does your
Yeah.
heart feel?
So now you have that internal strength, or an individual has that
Hmm.
internal knowing of who I
Hmm.
am.
Hmm.
And I believe that it's also important, one, as you get older, to maintain your personal agency, your own
Hmm.
ability to decide. Um, and so being around people who are not discouraging
Yeah,
is
it's important.
it for me, yes, it's absolutely important. And knowing how to create boundaries,
Hmm.
and being able to also advocate for yourself and have people
Hmm.
around who will advocate for you, which means you have to share your wishes with others.
Hmm.
But it's so important for me to limit my time in spaces that drain
And
me.
I do believe in having a vision and mission statement that's personal. So often that is associated with the work environment. But I believe we have to come back to ourselves. You'll hear me say that over and over again. What are the things that are important to you?
Yes.
And as you were asking me the question, what was making me smile was thinking about how often there are people in my life now who look at me and they're amazed and they also try to limit what it is I'm doing and say to me, well, really, can you do that? Like when I wanted to drive someplace. Well, of course I can drive wherever it is. And they think, well, maybe you should get Uber or take Lyft or, get somebody to take you there. And I'm thinking, the only time I don't drive is at night. I can't see in the dark well. So it's important to have honesty about what your limitations are and what your abilities are. And so when people also try to limit me or they're concerned or they call me and they can't get to me because, I'm coaching people still.
Yes.
So they
I'm one of
freak
those
out.
people. I'll call you right back. That's the notification I get. I'm like, why is she more busy than I am?
But, it's my life.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that to do, I remember when I first started coaching and I realized there was something I could do that would excite me forever because it's my passion. I said, well, I'll be doggone. This is something I can do until I die. I can do this for the rest of my life. And it
Yes.
is. I can coach for the rest of my life. I understand that not everybody has something they can do for the rest of their life. I just happen to be one of those. I'm very fortunate. I admit that I'm very, very, very fortunate. Is everything perfect? Oh, no. No. But there is nothing that's perfect in the world. So, are there more pluses than minuses on my list? You know? Yes. And when people are trying to contain me, I look at it and I thank them in my head and in my heart that they care about me. But then
Yes.
I also have to set up my own limits and say, thank you very much for loving me and thank you very much for caring about me. But I'm going to go ahead and do whatever that was. I am going to do that. Can I call you if I have a problem, if I need to?
Yes.
Because I do recognize that I'm 83. But it isn't the end of the world. It is so exciting. For the first time in my life, really, I don't have to really be constrained by anybody else's stuff. I do what I want to do when I want to do it and how I want to do it. And I'm open to receiving what other people's suggestions are. But then I have to filter it through my own, I have to put it through my own filter and say, does this work for Sarah?
Yeah.
If it works for me, I'm all about it. If it doesn't work for me, then I have to pull back and say, no, I think I need to reconsider this. So I'm always doing a personal assessment, always. And not just based on age, but
Yes.
certainly age is one of the mirrors that I have to look in now that I didn't look into when I was in my 50s or 40s or 30s. And, but I was looking through other filters at that time.
Yes. Yes.
So life is all about that. What are your filters today?
So again, those personal, your community, your social engagement, having something in life that you're passionate about, doing those assessments, all of that is important through every transition at every stage
Absolutely.
of life.
I have found that going through different times, like I've been divorced, so I went through that whole period and I was a single parent mother during that time. Um, and then I remarried and went through 40 years with someone. And during that time, that person um, developed developed Parkinson's. And so there was all of that whole experience.
Hmm.
But all during that time, I had to keep some portion of that for me.
Yeah.
It was just really, really important to make sure that I didn't lose myself in the midst of it because it's very easy to lose yourself when you're going through consuming experiences like that.
Yeah. So it's always important to keep that sanctuary in the middle.
Absolutely. The
Yeah.
sanctuary within yourself.
Within yourself. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Always. I've always I look for a sanctuary outside myself also in nature and in being
In
involved
community.
and community. Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm always looking at that. But ultimately, the sanctuary is within.
Yes.
It's me and God. I'm a very unapologetically spiritual person.
I
I
was
have,
thinking about the sanctuary within. Um,
yeah,
the world you see and experience and attract to yourself represents the sanctuary within. If
right.
you're attracting I'll speak to for my own myself and my own experience. When I was attracting angry people or people who spoke negatively about their life or people who were abusing themselves in some way,
Mhm.
um, people who were not grateful, that also represented or was a mirror of my inner sanctuary and
Yes.
how I needed to work on healing and becoming, because what I was attracting really, for me, mirrored my own thoughts and my own beliefs. And as we know, a belief is a thought you keep thinking, and you can change your thoughts and change your beliefs and transform your life. And through each transition, I recognize the importance of the thoughts that dictated how I moved in the world. And as I transformed those thoughts and recognized that I didn't like what I was attracting, then what I began to attract, it changed.
Yes, exactly. I
I can remember the
remember,
day I was like, really like, it's working.
yes, it does work. We are mirrors for each other. I
Yeah.
really only want to work and live in a positive way. That doesn't mean that negative things aren't happening. Like we're living in the midst of chaos right now.
Yes.
So, because we are living in the midst of that, that is a reality. How do we live in a way that doesn't bring chaos to us? And for me, I don't want to live in the midst of a chaotic world inside myself.
Yes.
I can't do much about what's going on in the world right now, except I can. I can have conversations about it. Can I go out and demonstrate and all that stuff like some people are doing? No. On Easter Sunday of this year, I began what I'm calling becoming conversations, and I'm doing that because it's my way of being able to invite people into a conversation that is about their becoming in the midst of all of this stuff that's going on right now. And so we can either be taken down by it or we can raise ourselves up by it. And I write letters and I'm starting a group at church about advocacy, helping people really get turned on to advocacy and making a difference just by writing letters or
Yeah.
making a phone call. So I think that we can make a difference however we can do it. That's really my methodology for myself is to take care of me as best I can so that I have more to give out in the world in the way that I'm able to do it. We can all do it in some way. So what will we choose for ourselves? How can we best give to the world? Doesn't have
Well,
to be huge, doesn't have to be big.
you're right. It one small step at a time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now I want to get to your third book. And
Yes.
um, again, each book I can clearly see transition in your evolution and your becoming. And this book is absolutely, I just opened it to this page and it says the title is Reclaiming Purpose, Reconnecting to Why You're Here. And then it says you share a blessing. And so this book is an absolute blessing.
Oh, thank you so much, Donna.
An absolute
I
blessing.
love this book. I love it. It's the best one I've done, I think.
It I think the end of Crossing Rough Waters was inspiring. And you can see here, I got so many tabs in this
Yeah,
book, like way more tabs than I have in the other book, even a bookmark in the book. And the whole book is inspiring, but there
thank
are
you
parts
very
of
much.
it that's heavy. But this book, it is not just inspiring not just an inspiring story of your life, it's an inspiration for anyone. It's inspiring for
Thank you.
anyone.
That was
Um,
my hope. I
yeah,
wanted, no matter your age, No matter your circumstance, no matter what's going on in your life right now, in this moment, I'm hopeful that everyone can feel inspired just by reading one line. I mean, and that's what excites me. That was my goal. So to look at just opening a page and turning to something and reading something, the radiance of now is what I turn to. And one of the lines says, radiance is not a distant reward for doing everything right. Just read that sentence.
Yeah.
And it isn't. It's not about doing everything right. It is the natural glow of being fully alive, awake to this breath, this moment, this truth.
I just opened to a page, page 12. It says, remembering who you are is not a one-time epiphany. It's a returning, a sacred re-encounter with the self who has always known how to love, how to feel, how to trust, and how to shine. And then there are a couple more paragraphs, but then the second to last statement, it says, so take a breath, turn inward. The soul you came with is still here, alive, luminous, and waiting to be honored again.
We're not taught that.
Right.
We're not taught how wonderful we are. And I want to say that to everybody. Every single person on the planet is here for a reason, on purpose. Even people that we don't agree with, they're
Yeah.
here for a reason and they're here for a purpose. I'm just so excited about where we are in a way, because I believe that the light always wins. Always. Does it win when we want it to win? No, because it's not on our time frame. But I believe that the light always wins. And the way you can tell that the light is winning is by how hard the light is struggling to stay alive. Watching people rise up against the negativity. We haven't had that in a long time, and it's happening all over the world. It's not just in the United States.
What you just said aligns with that first short paragraph. And so just taking it back to me and my personal journey and the mirror, seeing the reflection of myself in the people and the circumstances or the experiences I had been attracting to myself as a younger person, and recognizing now as an older person, and I've always known this, but we're all connected. There is no separation. And the more back to me personally, the more I recognize my value, the more I recognize who I am,
Yes,
and walk in my truth, then I become more. I become more of service to other people. I become more confident. And the more we recognize collectively who we are and
right,
how we're connected,
right.
the same result. We
Yes,
we do rise up together. We do
yes,
rise up understanding that
yeah,
this doesn't just impact them,
yes,
it impacts all of us.
right.
And even if it doesn't impact me in the same way, because I love me, I love them.
There is something else that I really want to read, just based on what you're saying,
Okay.
is that the piece that's on my website right now. You know, that's the other thing. It's I'm so proud of this website. I made it myself. It's called Trusting the Journey. Originally, it was called A Prayer for Trusting the Journey, but I'm just saying Trusting the Journey. There is a rhythm to life that guides us forward, even when we cannot see the way. I open my heart to that quiet rhythm, the whisper of wisdom that moves beneath all things. I trust that each step I take is shaped by a love greater than my own. Every encounter, every pause, every beginning is part of something unfolding perfectly in time. May I listen well and walk gently. May I recognize the companions who are meant to journey beside me and welcome them with grace. When I feel uncertain, remind me that trust is the bridge between what is and what is becoming. I release the need to know the outcome. I surrender the weight of control. I choose instead to rest in faith that I am being led by the same light that stirs the stars to shine. I am still becoming, and I trust the journey ahead.
It's beautiful. Namaste.
Namaste. I love you, Donna Marie.
I love you, Sarah Payne Naylor. I am so grateful that we met those years ago.
I am too.
And trusting the process led me to you, led
Uh,
me to the person who led me to the training that led me to you. Never giving up hope led me to you.
wow. Wow. Thank you. I believe what a good coach does is a good coach is someone who recognizes who the other person is. And I never try to tell another person who they are, who they should become. But I try to help people hear themselves and then to be able to excavate what's down inside there that
Yes.
needs to come up, that needs to rise up to help them be better people. Because that's what happened to me. I didn't have a coach. I had God. Oh God, you know, that kept speaking to me. And I excavated it through journaling. But at the time that I started this journey, there were no coaches. It wasn't called that at all. So um, I just think that everybody is sacred and everybody has stuff inside them that is bubbling up to the surface all the time. And they're waiting to become the best people that they can possibly be, always, every day. Thank you.
And thank you for being an amazing older American. Just those words alone represent how amazing you are, represent the contributions that you've not only made in my life, but even being on your Sunday call, listening to the positive impact you've had in the lives of others, is really another reason why I wanted this conversation today. There's so many reasons, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight who you are, what you're doing, and encourage people to focus on uh, caring for themselves and becoming, that they never stop becoming.
Exactly.
Or actually, some people do, but you don't have to stop becoming.
Right.
You can
Right.
always choose yourself. And your book here outlines ways in which an individual can choose themselves, gives great encouragement, tools, wisdom to reclaim personal power and purpose, to transform at any age. Thank you for trusting the process
Yeah.
and allowing your light to shine, allowing yourself to be a vessel.
Thank you so much.
Sarah, how can people find you, buy your book, attend your Sunday sessions?
So I have a website. It's www.sarahpaynenaylor.com. On that website, it has the Becoming Conversations listed that has the link, um, the Zoom link that people can tune into. And I'm holding these or hosting these conversations every Sunday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So just come on and join us for an hour and a half from 7 to 8:30 every Sunday evening. The book is available on Amazon.com, and you can just order either a Kindle version or a paperback version. Thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for being here and for giving me this time. You are one of my most favorite older Americans.
Oh, thank you.